Am I the asshole for scaring a young kid to spite his mom? I, 32 male, am pretty overweight. 320 pounds. Important later. I received a text from my mom while walking home from some errands that my cousin had passed away unexpectedly. This was the second unexpected death in my family in 2 weeks and I was just broken. Ended up stopping at a burger joint on my way home because I knew I wasn't going to be making myself dinner in the mood I was in. While waiting in line, there was a young boy that was acting up. Running around, grabbing straws and napkins, trying to push the buttons on the fountain. He was pretty young, but old enough that he should know better. His mom snapped and hissed at him, "If you don't start behaving, that big fat man is going to grab you and take you away," while pointing at me. Her words stabbed pretty hard. I've been fighting my ass off to lose weight that I've had since I was a kid, and have had moderate, slow success. I was just in the worst state of mind to be dealing with fat shaming but bit my tongue. Kid behaved for a few minutes, but soon was running up and down the aisles again and I was at my boiling point. When he ran past my booth I lunged towards him, arms wide and fingers waggling, and shrieked like a banshee, "Boololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololol." This kid went into full survival mode. Screaming, crying and tripping over himself trying to get back to his mom, who stormed over and started berating me. I said something about having to do her parenting for her, she slung more insults about my body. I went home Afterwards, I felt pretty bad. Not for the stuff I said to the mom, but for the sheer terror I gave the kid. Not the asshole. Shush, don't tell anyone. Once a brat in a store asked why I'm so fat. I looked at him, smiled sweetly, and said, "Because I eat rude children." Mother of rude child didn't appreciate it, but then I said, "With ketchup," while waving the bottle around. At this point they left instead of trying to argue with me. Not the asshole. She's the one who cast you in the role of potential kidnapper monster. I think it was actually very good-natured of you to play along. So sorry to hear about your family BTW. Not the asshole. You're a legend. Good luck within your weight loss journey. Not the asshole. The mother brought you into the disciplining of her child in a very rude, obnoxious way. Can't skinny guys take kids away? She used you to scare the kid into behaving. Since it did not completely work the first time, you helped her to make it work. Even with all your problems and her obnoxious behavior, you helped her out. Not the asshole. I mean, she warned the kid. Not the asshole. Oh, I hate it when parents use strangers as a mean to scare their children into obedience. It teaches them to fear everyone around them. Although I love what my great-uncle-in-law said once when someone tried that. "Yeah, kid. I will take you home and make you eat ice cream and candy and force you to watch TV past your bedtime." Am I the asshole for asking my roommate to change her dog's name? I live with my roommate, Lisa. Lisa lived in Russia for at least the first several years of her life, and she and her parents then immigrated to the United States. Lisa is a great roommate, we've had no issues. She recently wanted to get a dog, and asked if I minded if she did. I said no. Several months later she brought home a lab puppy. She's always taken care of him, and he hasn't caused any issues and is really very sweet. My issue is not at all with him. She's had him for a little over 2 weeks. She didn't tell me his name until a few days ago. She said she hadn't decided. When she told me the name I felt uneasy. I don't want to say it, but it's a very stereotypically Russian name, and with recent events I wasn't sure that was a good idea. I told her that and she brushed it off. Said that she had always wanted a dog when she was growing up and that she had had this name picked out for years but wanted to make sure she thought it fit him. I again told her I thought it was a bad idea. With recent events people may get the wrong idea about her or what she supports, and that I would feel uncomfortable calling him that. She didn't listen, so I eventually gave her an ultimatum. I would not live with the dog if that was his name. I don't want to have to explain that to everyone I meet or for them to immediately assume things about me, especially since he was born after everything happened. She was shocked and got really upset at me, and has been storming around since then and refusing to talk to me, except for when she said she wouldn't be renewing the lease so I didn't have to worry about living with her or her dog. Some of my friends think I went too far, but many agree with me and say she shouldn't be naming her dog that. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. My Russian friend gave her pet a Russian name, and I think that's bad because I don't understand that many Russian names are also common in neighboring countries because I've never heard of the USSR, or I don't understand the concept of emigration. I'm assuming she named him Vladimir. Believe it or not, that name is not exclusive to Putin. This whole thing is one of the more asinine things I've ever read on AITA. Is it Voldemort? Is that why you can't say it? If it is Vladimir, then you are the asshole. That name's really pretty common. You're being ridiculous. A Russian name from a Russian owner would not be unexpected. You're being prejudiced and bigoted. You are the asshole. You are the asshole if you're kicking your roommate out for naming her dog Vladimir. You are the asshole. The US has a decent-sized immigrant, or historically immigrant, Russian community, and I've known many people in my life who have had, stereotypically, Russian names. You are the asshole. This is really dumb despite the Ukrainian conflict. Just because it's a common Russian name you're automatically pro-Russia? Lol. Am I the asshole for getting a woman blacklisted from babysitting, nannying? I, 34 female. Live with my wife, 40 female. Sue and our kids 3 female, 6 female and 11 male. Our previous sitter chose to follow a different career path which led us to finding a new one, to which my friend suggested a place she used. We used it and found a woman, 25 female, named Sharon. We thought she was perfect, especially since she also had experience taking care of autistic children. Our son is autistic. We screened her, background check, etc., and she passed. I have to explain one thing though. Sue and I have a room off of our own that's for us only, and it has stuff in there not meant for children. The kids are not allowed in our bedroom unless we are there, and we do not keep anything in there they might need, want. We made it extremely clear to Sharon not to let our kids in our room. After maybe 2 days of babysitting, I got a panicked call from her saying my 6-yo locked 3-yo in our closet, and our son wouldn't stop screaming. When I came home, Sharon was outside by herself, my son was in his room with the door shut still screaming, and 6-yo was by the closest door crying, along with my 3-yo crying on the other side of the door. The door's lock was one of those button locks in the center of the door handle which was visible. It took me a minute to get my kids under control, but when I finally did, Sharon was looking at me with disgust. I guess while I was with my kids she decided to look into the room my child was in. She berated me about how she was already skeptical of watching kids with 2 moms, and this just proved her right because of what we are into and exposing our kids to. This lasted maybe 10 minutes before Sue came in and forced her to leave. When everything finally settled down, we checked our nanny cams. We were able to see Sharon snuggled up with a blanket on the couch and our kids doing whatever. Then we saw our daughters going into our room and 6-yo locking 3-yo in. Then 11-yo came in and started screaming because 6-yo is crying and panicking. Then after some time Sharon decided to see what's wrong. She is now panicked and beating on the door. Once again it's a button lock in full view. After maybe a few minutes she takes our son to his room and left him. Then tries for the door again before going outside and calling us. We sent that to the video to the right people and Sharon got in trouble and blacklisted. Currently we are receiving a lot of hate because I guess she was a good Christian woman who didn't deserve that and we were overacting. Edit, because I feel like I should explain the house situation. Our room is down a hall on the left side of the house with just a linen closet adjacent to it, and the kids' rooms are on the right side of the home down another hall, and the common area is in the middle. The couch is smack in the center of the common area, so everything would have been in full view. Edit 2, for those wondering and those that keep calling it a dungeon, if you've ever been to a Spencer's store is like that, but with a couch and TV. Not the asshole, she wasn't doing her job. Watching your kids, that's why she's blacklisted. What you do in your private life is no one's business. Not the asshole, she left the children unsupervised. She did it to herself. Speaking as a former professional babysitter, nanny, you are definitely not the asshole. She wasn't supervising the kids, then tried to blame your family for her mistake. I don't blame you a bit. The good Christian woman bit lights me up because that's no excuse for not doing her job. Good Christians take accountability for their actions. Not the asshole, she definitely cannot be around children, and you'd be doing a lot of parents a favor by doing that. Info. Does good Christian woman mean inattentive, judgmental, and incompetent? Like can't unlock a door level of incompetent. I always thought it meant something different. Not the asshole. She sounds like a terrible babysitter and an awful, judgy person besides. Am I the asshole for ruining a happy family moment by correcting a lie? So here's the deal. I'm 16 male, got stepsiblings 18 female, 17 female and 15 male. My dad married their mom when I was 8. About a month before they got married, which is when they became engaged, they sat the four of us down and asked for us to give our blessing on the marriage. My stepsiblings all did and were eager for it to happen. I was not. All four of us lost our other parent before that point. Their dad died about 3/4 of a year before that point, and my mom had died 2 years before. At this time Dad asked me why, and I said it was all too fast for me and I wasn't ready for a new family to come in and take over what used to be us and Mom. They told me my reason wasn't good enough and they were ready and I would thank them one day. They have forever talked about how special our family is because we chose to be a family, we got to pick our family, etc. I have told my dad and his wife both how much it bothers me when they say it like that, because I hadn't chosen this. They told me I would come to understand with time. It's been 8 years. I don't feel different than I did 8 years ago. I didn't choose them, and honestly, I likely wouldn't choose them if I had a choice. They all like to ignore the fact I said what I did and instead say all four of us kids agreed and were excited for the wedding. Even my stepsiblings will say I chose them and they chose me. Only half of that is true. My dad and his wife celebrated 8 years married with some family. Everyone else was having a good time, but I was annoyed hearing all about how we were family by choice and how we chose each other, so I spoke up. I said everyone else chose, but that I had said no when asked and I was told my reasons weren't good enough so they'd choose for me. I said I understand I didn't get to dictate my dad's life, and that's fine, but the least they could do is not lie and say I chose this marriage and family. The mood soured. My grandparents could not believe Dad had dismissed me way back then and then talked about how happy I was about it. My dad, his wife and my stepsiblings said I spoiled a happy family moment with my outburst and that makes me childish and mean. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. If they didn't want to be caught in a lie, they shouldn't have lied. I feel for you. Family isn't easy. Not the asshole. They twisted your response to create a make-believe outcome and perpetuated the story for years. This is selfish. I'm sorry they could not muster an ounce of empathy for your position. You matter. You are so not the asshole here, seriously. They've all tried to gaslight you for 8 years and they call you mean for not lying for them? They can have their happy family moment, but it's not your moment, it never was and it never will be. I'm really glad that your grandparents could see the seriousness of the situation, and I hope you can keep them in your life once you're legally an adult and can get away from your so-called family. I said I understand I didn't get to dictate my dad's life, and that's fine, but the least they could do is not lie and say I chose this marriage and family. This is quite reasonable. They want to paper over your feelings because your feelings are inconvenient to them, which is terrible parenting. Not the asshole at all. Not the asshole. They asked for your blessing. You said no and that it was too fast for you. A grieving 8 oh. And they dismissed you. Obviously you can't tell your adult father what to do with his life, but they were such a holes with that comment and then proceed to lie to everyone for 8 years? Your family deserves to know that you didn't feel comfortable with your new family and that you didn't choose them. Not the asshole. They don't get to spread the lie. Good for you for telling it like it is.